Today is May 30th, 2016. And yes, indeed, we're running out of 2016, and we may be even running out of the present. The present is not like eternity. The last video I did, made, conceived, presented, it took 90 minutes. And time is so relative because, 5 minutes with a boring person or a unpleasant person, it seems like forever. You don't even know what forever is. But when you're doing something as a labor of love to bring awareness, my voice in general society is muted.
You may think you know exactly what race you are, but how would you prove it if someone disagreed with you? The fact is, even though race drives a lot of social and political outcomes, race isn't real. One of the first people to attempt to categorize humans according to race was a German scientist around 1776. He came up with 5 different groups according to physical appearance and geographic origin of their ancestors. Americans of European descent eagerly bought into this type of thinking around the same time. Some historians have said the idea
Not just Europeans. The black woman teaches race to her children and to her family. They teach race. Well, they benefit from the construct of race, being the mammies and the housekeepers and the Olivia Popes and the Julias, the Jezebels. They benefit from it. They benefit from shoving Democrats down your throat. Because I'm going somewhere with this, all right? And it's the original Olivia Pope, the construct, the maid. Men, women don't acquire. Men, women are made. And there's nothing more made than the constructed, modern, single mother black woman. Julia, Jezebel, Beyonce, you know? But the reason why I wanted to go back there to the where the end of this video is going is to explain where I am right here. That it deconstructs them. There's no such thing as black people or white people or a black race and a white race, either or both. Yellow race. There's no such thing. Divide and conquer is the thing. And they have divided and they are conquering. But conquering is not the same thing as conquered.
there were different races helped them resolve the contradiction between a natural right to freedom and the fact of slavery. If whites were their own distinct category, then they could feel a lot better about denying freedom to people who they labeled black and decided were fundamentally different. But as political priorities change, definitions of race in America adjust right along with them. For example, if you are of Mexican birth or ancestry in the United States in 1929, you were considered white. Then, the 1930 census changed that to non-white to limit immigration. Later, when the U.S. needed to increase its labor force during World War II, these people were switched back to white. And what it took to be black once varied so wildly throughout the country, from 1/4 to 1/16 to the infamous 1 drop of African ancestry, that people could actually change races just by crossing state lines. Then, suddenly, in 2000, the government decided that Americans could be more than one race and added a multiracial category to the census. This has left many Americans scratching their heads when it comes to selecting who they are. As many as 6.2% of census respondents selected some other race in a 2010 survey.
Okay. I'm trying to stay on point, on topic. And this is the topic that deconstructs the rest of the premise of being black or white. There's no such thing. If everything you believe in, and oh Lord have mercy, I just believe that black people are superior. It's like you don't answer for anyone and no one answers for you. You are not a part of a tribe. You are not a part of the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons. That's not your team. All right, you slave mentality ass motherfuckers of all different hues and pigments. When Alabama wins, you don't win. You just spent $1,200 motherfucking going to the game. You know what $1,200 could do feeding your neighbors beans and rice? You could be a rich person for weeks off of what you use to go see a game. Staying on point. There's no such thing as race. You dumb asses.
Someone might look one way and identify another way, or that they might be really hard to place in a racial category is not new. This is why there was a public debate about whether MSNBC's Karen Finney could say she was black, or how we can't even agree on the racial label assigned to the President of the United States. Of course, many people feel their racial identity is very clear and very permanent, but the fact that some people have changed theirs and that no one can really argue with them shows how shaky the very idea of race is. This is all because there isn't a race chromosome in our DNA that people can point to. It simply doesn't exist. When the medical community links race to health outcomes, it's really just using race as a substitute for other factors, such as where your ancestors came from, or the experiences of people who may have been put in the same racial group as you. Dorothy Roberts explains that sickle cell anemia is a prime example of this. The disease is linked to areas with high rates of malaria, which include some parts of Europe and Asia in addition to Africa. It's not actually about race at all. This, of course, does not mean that the concept of race isn't hugely important in our lives. The racial categories to which we're assigned can determine real-life experiences, they can drive political outcomes, and they can even make the difference between life and death. But understanding that racial categories are made up can give us an important perspective on where racism came from in the first place.
So, I've cited this video.
You may think you know exactly what racism is.
I've cited this video. And there's another video that's more, it's longer. But I think that the first one explained it. But I just want to just emphasize the fact, or the premise, the theorem, create your own theorem. Let's look that up. Because I'm not smart, but I know where to go to get answers. I know where to go to find citations, evidence. THE. THER. Okay, there we go. Theorem. I didn't come here looking for trouble. I did not. Theorem. A general proposition not self-evident but proved by a chain of reasoning, a truth established by means of accepted truths. Alright? Alright? Alright. I don't think I even... Ugh. Okay, let me understand what I just read. A general proposition not self-evident but proved by a chain of reasoning. All right, I've reasoned that if I'm ever stupid enough to go to a place to get something to eat, to an establishment to consume, and there's a black woman in sight, I'm going to get bad service. I'm going to expect that if I have a mother, she's going to teach me about Santa Claus, Cronus. If modern women, if I, making a theorem, is that I would consider that certain mothers will dress their children in their baby boys in Nikes and sag their pants in infancy. I digress.
Major funding for this program provided by the Ford Foundation, a resource for innovative people and institutions worldwide, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Additional funding provided by these funders. There is no question that individual human beings are different, one from the other. Our eyes confirm this day in and day out. Skin color, body shape, hair form, eye shape. For several hundred years, we have used these visual differences to classify people into 4 or 5 groups we call races.
We have a notion of race as being divisions among people that are deep, that are essential, that are somehow biological or even genetic, and that are unchanging, that these are clear-cut, distinct categories of people.
And the beauty of the race business is that you can identify people by just looking at them. You don't even have to look at their genes because one manifestation of their genes is there, namely skin color or eye shape or hair shape. And then that's the key to everything.
The idea of race assumes that simple external differences, rooted in biology, are linked to other, more complex internal differences, like athletic ability, musical aptitude, intelligence. This belief is based on the idea that race is biologically real.
All of our genetics now is telling us that that's not the case. We can't find any genetic markers that are in everybody of a particular race and in nobody of some other race. We can't find any genetic markers that define race.
And actually, what we're going to generate are billions of copies of a little section of your genetic code. And we're going to look
These students are gathering for a DNA workshop led by Cold Spring Harbor Labs teacher Scott Bronson.
Pipette up 30 microliters, fill it to
Marcus, Gorgeous, Jackie, Noah, Hannah, Jamil, and their fellow students are about to explore the biology of human variation.
But there's another type of DNA. Does anybody know what that type of DNA is? Yeah. Mitochondrial DNA. Very good.
They will compare their skin colors.
They're like not human colors.
They will type their blood.
Okay. Let's look up that word. I might have to do 2 videos because I don't want it just to go. I don't want this to be like 90 minutes. Oh, look at that shit. I actually, and I'm not a good speller, and I guess in my own mind, but I guess using this app on my MacBook Pro, MacBook Pro. Would I get me some type of like endorsement deal? I'm not looking for any endorsement deals. I'm not begging anybody. You know, I've got so much to give to you, my dear. It's gonna take a lifetime. It's gonna take years and years. And you know what? I didn't come here looking for trouble. Mitochondria and organelle. I don't know. An organ L, an organ female found in large. Wait a minute. Okay, we're getting ready to get in deep here. We got to go back and look this up. Mito. Let's look up ELLEL. I don't even know why that is on there. L. Something that is L shaped and creates an L in a particular. Am I? Have I had too much beer? Because I don't understand this and why that's on in the there. But anyway, they form a measure of length, L, equivalent to 6 hands, and mainly for textiles, locally variable. It's like whose hands? This is me digressing. Hung up on the word mitochondria.
Swab cells from inside their mouths to extract a small portion of their own DNA. Once the sample is ready, they will compare some of their genetic similarities and differences.
We're going to look at a very tiny section of this ring. We're just going to look at
The students begin the workshop with the same assumptions most of us have.
As you begin to look at the data, you might want to keep in your mind who you think you might be most similar to and who you think you might be most different to.
I think I probably have the most similarities with Mr. Bronson or with Carol because we were white males, both Carol and I, and both Scott Bronson and I.
I think I'd have the most differences with Kirill and the most similarities.
Okay, I wish I could speed this up a little bit, and I am going to speed it up. When you're in a race of life, trying to win trying to win green. Green is what grows out of the earth. Gold is what happens to what is grown out of the earth. It turns gold. Gold is death. Gold is twilight. When you're in a race, why would you sit there and look and say, "Oh, well, look at the kind of shoes he's wearing," and "Oh, look at their colors"? Why would you care about that? This is someone who ran track, and this is probably what I did because I was taught, to like, "Oh, who's black in this race?" But then I learned that you only have to give an account for yourself. You only have to give an account for yourself in treating people right. Right?
She's African American, I'm African American. I mean, like, black.
I think maybe me and Natalia are most alike.
Let's deconstruct the construction. There's no such thing as race. I'm just going to go forward a little bit.
She's Latin American and I'm Latin American. I figured that tons of differences, but
All right. The first thing that I'm going to get out of this video is you named your child gorgeous. You named your child Lexus. You named your child Cappuccino. You named your child Peaches.
We ascribe to biology. The idea of race as biology is ferociously persistent on America's playing fields. Gorgeous Harper and her teammates are competing at the Adidas.
What the fuck? What did she say? Okay, look at the hair weaves on these chicks running around in the hot sun. And the hair weaves. What the fuck did she just call this chick?
Gorgeous Harper and her teammates are competing at the Adidas National.
Gorgeous Harper? Did some mother named her child Gorgeous? Don't you think that's a little bit too much to put on a child? Because I've seen Gorgeous. I would say she's athletic, but I wouldn't call her anything. She's just a runner. She's a runner. But this is the reason why I mentioned the race, running, metaphorically, realistically, locally to this video, that it doesn't matter what your name is. It doesn't matter. It just matters what you do. And believe me, there's a white person or a person of a different hue, a lighter
Gorgeous
hue, or a darker
Harper
hue that can
and
beat
her
you.
teammates are competing at the Adidas Nationals.
I love to run track. I've been running track since I was 8 years old. The people I train with, they all want to be the best, and you got to put in the hard work.
This is the top event for elite high school track and field stars. And while racial differences are not necessarily discussed openly, they are often part of the careful calculation of competitive edge.
Well, I've heard some rumors I've heard are just like blacks have an extra muscle in their leg, but I don't think anything's true.
I assume that a white girl can't beat me in the 200. In my mind, I don't think she can beat me, but I won't sleep on her.
I don't want to go on forever. This is a very nice video. It's PBS.
Major funding for this program provided by the Ford Foundation.
I'm pretty sure that they're going to flag me for this, but I just want to get the information out. I just want to give credit.
A resource for innovative people and Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Ford Foundation. And CP, whatever.
Innovative people and institutions worldwide. And the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Additional funding provided by these funders.
I'll be revisiting this video. I am the referee. I flag mainly the so-called African American woman on her job. I don't give a. I got a pocket full of Fig Newtons. I got 2 pockets in my pants, and all my Fig Newtons are in my pants, and I'm able to fit 12 Fig Newtons in each pocket, which means I have 24 Fig Newtons, of which I wouldn't give a fucking Fig Newton about throwing a flag and bringing your boss, a white man, into the situation and make me understand why there's 10 motherfucking black chicks back there and 2 customers and I can't get waited on. There's 10 of them and 2 customers and I cannot even fucking spend my money fast. I don't care if you don't like me. I see people that like me, people who don't like me, children, adults, children who don't see that I exist, and adults who are fascinated by whatever it is.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. But they fought with expert timing. There was funky Chinaman from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up. They were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody knew their part. From a fainting to a slip, and a kicking from the hip, everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but it was with expert timing. There was responsibility and real Sammy Charles. He said, "Here comes the big boss. Let's get it on." He took the ball and made a stance. Started swinging with the hand. Some motion made me skip. Now we're into a brand new trick. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they did it expert timing.
I just wanted to put that video in there to re-emphasize I don't spend my days and nights hating on anyone, but I cannot ignore the construct of race that the black woman has instilled. Not only race, but Santa Claus and Michael Jordan and television and oh my goodness gracious, McDonald's, hair weaves. Look up I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. I wish I had dragged that clip in. Look up I'm Gonna Get You Sucker and see how if you took off everything off of the so-called constructed black woman, you would not even know her. You would pass her. I'm digressing. Let's get on with the slave mentality that the black woman instills into her family. This is Black Patriarch. He's fantastic. I'm gonna have to cite him and everybody.
These are the words of W.E.B. Du Bois. The Talented Tenth, Part 1 of 4, September 1903. The Negro race, like all races, is going to be saved by its exceptional men.
All right. First of all, I made the first part of this video to encourage you to nullify, penalize, disregard the premise. Let's look at premise. Excuse me. A previous statement or proposition formed from which another is inferred or follows a conclusion. The conclusion is that there are Negroes and there are like Caucasians and there are all these separate, but they can all make babies together, which is why there's so many other laws anyway.
The problem of education, then, among Negroes must first of all deal with the talented tenth. It is the problem of developing the best of this race, that they may guide the mass away from the contamination and death of the worst, in their own and in other races. If this be true, and who can deny it, 3 tasks lay before me. First, to show from the past that the talented tenth, as they have risen among American Negroes, have been worthy of leadership. Secondly, to show how these men may be educated and developed. And thirdly, to show their relation to the Negro problem. You misjudge us because you do not know us. From the very first, it has been the educated and intelligent of the Negro people that have led and elevated the mass, and the sole obstacle that nullified and retarded their efforts was slavery and race prejudice. For what is slavery but the legalized survival of the unfit and the nullification of the work of natural internal leadership? Negro leadership therefore sought from the first to rid this race of this awful incubus, that it might make way for natural selection and the survival of...
You gotta look up incubus. Having leaves that point forward so that the upper edges overlap. What the fuck? Okay, this must be the word. A male demon believed to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women. A male demon believed to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women. A cause of distress or anxiety. Debt is a big incubus in developing countries. Archaic, a nightmare. What the fuck are they talking about? Middle English, late Latin, incubo. Okay, it's a nightmare. Okay, basically, long story short. All right, we get hung up on that word. We got to go back.
leadership. Negro leadership therefore sought from the first to rid this race of this awful incubus, that it might make way for natural selection and the survival of the fittest.
I don't. I have many pictures and many videos in my over 600 videos that I've done. Various videos, but one of them is of me helping to feed the hungry. And when the so-called black motherfucker comes up to the line, they cut the line. And of course, I understand hierarchy. We got to look that up. You know. Okay, I want to learn how to spell. I was feeling good about my spelling, but anyway, we got there. Hierarchy, a system, and most situations run on hierarchical um, disciplines. A system or organization in which people or groups are ranked one above the other according to status or authority. I think physicality and mental superiority or whatever. But I mean, I think it should be something that's decided. It shouldn't be something that's understood. Something that is understood. That the man leads the woman. I know I might lose subscribers. I mean, yeah. But or you know what? Let's decide who's going to lead. Are you going to be? It's going to be Jane or John. That needs to be made. That decision needs to be made, and the hierarchical structure needs to be established within any relationship. It be understood. If you don't understand it, then remove yourself from that structure, which is hierarchical. The father, the mother, the child, the firstborn, the secondborn, the baby boy, the last born doesn't run the house. The infant doesn't run the house. All right. I don't want to go long in time.
Women still tend to want to go towards the most powerful man, and if you're going by the racial hierarchy, then he is the white guy right up at the top. White men are seen at the top of the racial hierarchy. I'm sorry, we live in America, there's a racial hierarchy. White men are right at the tippy top.
What the fuck did she say? She's helping me get to where I'm going. The black woman perpetuates every fucking construct. Money doesn't wipe your ass. I don't care how much money you have. You're going to use all of it to get a staff of people to wipe your ass. I'm pretty sure that if I couldn't wipe my own ass, my ass is not going to get wiped. But I believe in the Most High, Jehovah, Elohim, Yahshua. But this is something that I'm sharing with you to try to make you understand what my position is as a person that's putting this video together. I help feed the hungry, and I would tell these guys not to cut the line. I would tell them not to touch anything, and they would question not the logic of me asking them not to cut the line, not the logic of don't touch anything. Even if you can't understand that I would never touch anything on you, why would you come up to the table with your dirty hands that you just use to insert your imagination or your prognostication, extrapolation here? I'm going to look up one more word and I'm going to get on with this video. Okay, when I say you haven't, we don't know what you did with your hands, but you can extrapolate, extend the application of method or conclusion, especially one based on statistics, to an unknown situation by assuming that existing trends will continue or similar methods. Like if you go, I'm going to make an extrapolation that there's something wet that might be hitting something, hopefully not me. If you go, I'm going to assume that you are defecating, or maybe I'm going to have an unpleasant smell in your proximity. That's extrapolation. Now, when you go, it might just mean I'm making sounds with my mouth, which hopefully my breath doesn't smell, but you can extrapolate, okay?
Women still tend to want to go towards the most powerful man, and if you're going by the racial,
that is them. There is no black woman that wants a black man. Scandal, 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 scandal. I'm okay. I'm going to make this professional the rest of the way.
then he is the white guy right up at the top. White men are seen at the top of the racial hierarchy. I'm sorry, we live in America. There's a racial hierarchy. White men are right at the tippy top.
And on the next level, you have these sisters out here who get these mid-level jobs, just like the young man who called earlier talking about the sister who was fronting on him at his job. You got a lot of that, man. You got a lot of these sisters who get these jobs. They don't give them no real cool position. They give them a nice little job. It's financial security. It's enough that they can pay their little car note and their little house note. Not even house note, a little apartment note. And these sisters will defend that job to the T. They will be the major watchdogs at those jobs. Those companies, man, a lot of companies love hiring these sisters because they're real loyal.
Black men have a hard time. So when the brothers, and by brothers I mean the mugs with the same socialized, categorized, pigmentized, monetized demographic is me, cut the line or touch anything, I say don't do it. Man, is this your food? My whatever authority that I have in in objectivity. It's objective. Motherfucker, don't touch anything. And there's white people who I'm trying to protect, and these so-called black people that I'm protecting them from. And the so-called white people are like, who are you to try to stop them from touching anything of mine? And then the same people will say, we need muscle. To put it in the words of the Missouri State person,
we leave America and go over to the east to Japan, they will be telling their fellow citizens of Japan of the wonderful accomplishments of the Japanese people, proving that man is moving onward as time moves on. But you have hated yourselves as you have done in previous years. You have shown malice, prejudice, and hate to each other. And the result is that while other races have made progress, while India has made progress towards nationalism, while Ireland has made progress towards republicanism, while the whole world has made progress in man's accomplishments, you still stand fighting yourselves, dishonoring yourselves, showing no disposition toward that higher life, so that you will be abundantly blessed. So reflect and think that you were created for some purpose other than exhibiting malice toward your neighbor or fellow men of your own race.
All right, let's look at this in the sense that he's right if you believe in the whole black person thing.
He's love hiring these sisters because they're real loyal.
I mean, the boss is right, but why are there so many constructed people willing to put themselves in a class, a caste, to cast themselves into the so-called underclass? And why do so many people cast themselves in the upper superior? It's individual situations. So I just want to deconstruct his very eloquent words.
If we leave America and go over to the east to Japan, they will be telling their fellow citizens of Japan of the wonderful accomplishments of the Japanese people, proving that man is moving onward as time moves on. But you have hated yourselves as you have done in previous years. You have shown malice, prejudice, and hate to each other. And the result is that while other races have made progress, while India has made progress towards nationalism, while Ireland has made progress towards republicanism, while the whole world has made progress in man's accomplishments, you still stand fighting yourselves, dishonoring yourselves, showing no disposition toward that higher life, so that you will be abundantly blessed. So reflect and think that you were created for some purpose other than exhibiting malice toward your neighbor or fellow men of your own race. But with the black man, you can preach to him from the pulpits. You lecture from the platforms, from the byways and the hedges. The spirit of cooperation, but he will not cooperate. You talk to him gently, you try talking harshly to him, he still will not cooperate. The result is that he...
I talked to the guys about the NFL. Like, you're 55 years old, and you still got a football fucking team, motherfucker. You're 55 fucking years old. You're 56, 57, 58 years fucking old, and you still walking around with a Terrell Davis fucking jersey on. That's all you motherfucking plantation slave mentality ass. You still got the Tony Dorsett jersey on from fucking Pitt. You're the only reason why some of these colleges are able to exist, because you buy all their merchandise. The slave mentality. Look at other motherfuckers, man. Look at yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people.
If we leave America and go over to the east to Japan, they will be telling their fellow citizens of Japan of the wonderful accomplishments of the Japanese people, proving that man is moving onward as time moves on. But you have hated yourselves as you have done in previous years. You have shown malice, prejudice, and hate to each other. And the result is that while other races have made progress, while India has made progress towards nationalism, while Ireland has made progress towards republicanism, while the whole world has made progress in man's accomplishments, you still stand fighting yourselves, dishonoring yourselves, showing no disposition toward that higher life so that you will be abundantly blessed. So reflect and think that you were created for some purpose other than exhibiting malice toward your neighbor or fellow men of your own race. But with the black man, you can preach to him from the pulpits. You lecture from the platforms, from the byways and the hedges. The spirit of cooperation, but he will not cooperate. You talk to him gently, you try talking harshly to him, he still will not cooperate. The result is that he falls prey to those who understand themselves and walk through the world making you their serfs and slaves.
Well, what whites did throughout history, if you go back as far back and start looking at books about 100, 200 years old, you find that one of the things that white folk really appreciated about when they chose their slaves was called docility. Docility meant that black folk have an intern disposition that makes them willing to accept their position in life, their status in life, and all they want to do is be at the beck and call at the arm of whites. That was the term they always used, that he's a very docile black. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the problems we have not been able to get over now.
Although these things are true in this construct, I'm not going to bore you. I mean, I can look at this because I understand it outside of its relevance. Within its relevance, I understand it, but there's no such thing as black people or white people. I just want to just go on and expose. When this show came out, I was 8 years old. I couldn't understand why Mark Coburge was on television, but I don't know. I want to look him up. I don't know why, but basically this was me as a little boy. You know, that was programmed by TV Land. TV Land. You're so not wonderful. And by not wonderful, I mean you're not wonderful. TVL and DNA, transgender. No, that's another story. But I just wanted to show how the constructed mother of 1968 is very much evident in the ones that are today, but worse.
Whenever you log on, say, "Take me to TV Land."
Okay, we got a little bit. I'm going to let this run through. But I just want to just say that the guy who makes the most sense is the white man. And he's vilified for saying commercialism, materialism. Why do you take all your money, but you got the black woman who's seduced by Hal Katner, created and seduced. You see, there's a lot of information in the negative. The negative, induced by Seduced. Let's look up seduced. Attract someone into a belief or into a course of action that is inadvisable, foolhardy, entice into sexual activity, attract, seducer, Hal Katner. I see you, man. Created and seduced by Hal Katner. Oh.
You got the wrong crayon. What do you mean? Santa's face isn't brown. You're right. Hand me the black.
Okay, look up these words. Saturnale. Look up Satan. Look up Saturday. Look up how the black woman indoctrinates her family into this crap.
No! He's orange with pink cheeks. Listen, he's been coming to see me for years. The real Santa is black. Corey Baker? It's not. He's white. Only he gets orange and pink from flying around in the night air. You're goofy. He's black like my Uncle Lou. Pink and orange. Brown and black. Pink and orange. Brown and black. What are you doing? Pink and orange. Brown and black. Now you tore me half. You did. You broke my duck.
Okay. This is what I would say. Boys, there's no such thing as assigning crayon colors to people. I would say, boys, there's no sense in celebrating Santa Claus because he's Satan. I would say, boys, let's all go to the party and listen to the doctor who's right about materialism and Santa Claus doesn't exist, but instead we'll leave you home and have this so-called constructed woman, single mother.
Stop it! Earl, it's time for you to go home. Corey and I have to leave.
He's the worst coloring guy in the whole world. You are Santa Claus is black. Oh yeah, not when he flies in California.
Pick up your crayons, Corey. We'll be late for the party.
Boy, talk about dumb kids. Earl G. Wagner thinks Santa Claus is white. Everybody knows he's black. Right, Mama?
Well, darling, Santa Claus is really the spirit of Christmas giving. He can be any color. He appears...
What the fuck did she say? What the fuck did she say? This chick is Eve. Jezebel. They won't ever talk about Jesus. They'll talk about Obama and Santa Claus.
G. Wagner thinks Santa Claus is white. Everybody knows he's black. Right, Mama?
Well, darling, Santa Claus is really the spirit of Christmas giving. He can be any color. He appears different to different people. He can be black, white, or red.
This is all I'm saying. Trying to keep this video short. It's already gone long. But the black woman is the one that put the fucking hippie ass motherfucking photographed abomination. They got her ass all decked out. All decked out. all decked out, and all I've seen is copies.
He can be any color. He appears different to different people. He can be black, white, or red, or yellow. To each his own.
What in counts is when he came to our house, he was black.
By now, millions of hard-earned dollars have been flung down the rat hole of giftdom. Unworn ties, broken toys, and...
This is, he's me. He's me. I'm not a doctor, but I'm smart, and I believe what he's saying. But you're going to see how he paid the price.
Drunken feasts. A whole nation of sentimental suckers.
I knew you'd catch the spirit of Christmas sooner or later, Doctor.
Where's Baker?
Bringing your son in for the employees' party.
I thought we agreed.
Listen to what they're saying, the spirit of Christmas. Christmas is not in the Bible. Christmas is satanic. Watch how he gets vilified, and watch how the black woman seizes on him.
Banal baubles and the commercial trappings of the season were to be left at home.
But the only thing we ever agreed on, Doctor, is that bandages should be sterile. Merry Christmas.
Hello,
both of you.
Hi, Mrs. Yarby.
Well,
hello, Dr. Checkley. Merry Christmas.
Ah, young man, you're all dressed up, I see.
Yes, sir. I got my handsome clothes on for the party.
What do you think of our office?
It's very clean. Is this where you and Mrs. Yarby work, Mom?
Yes, like slaves.
Corey, I understand you want to be a doctor. What do you think of our lash-up?
Your what?
Our clinic.
Boy, it's neat. Especially the tree.
Well, sometimes we manage to function without that. Come on over here. Get up right there.
Is this where you pull out people's blood?
Yes, in small doses usually.
Where do you keep it?
We send it to the laboratories for tests.
Don't you ever give it back?
No, we're very stingy that way.
You sure have lots of equipment here. Does my mother know how to work all this stuff?
Oh, yes. Yeah, your mother's very smart.
Are you smart too?
Well,
I'll answer that question, Yarby. Look, shall I show you how to work this equipment?
Sure.
Which one?
How do you make the Christmas tree bubble?
I think warm thoughts of loved ones far and near.
And that makes the tree bubble?
The details are worked out by Mrs. Yarby.
I think it's party time, Corey. Let's get over to the cafeteria.
You coming, Doctor?
No, I'll pass.
They're giving out presents and cake.
You know, my son, as you march through life, you'll realize there's more to Christmas than presents and cake. It's supposed to be the celebration of the birth of Christ, but over the years, the jackals of merchandom have pounced on it.
What did he say? Now, I just want to just let you know, this is the one, this one right here, the so-called single mother, she's the one that's going to get pissed at what he has to say. This guy right here. You do your own fucking math. I need to go to bed. and eat.
There's more to Christmas than presents and cake. It's supposed to be the celebration of the birth of Christ, but over the years, the jackals of merchandom have pounced on it until baby Jesus runs a poor fifth behind toys, trees, turkeys, and yo-ho-ho. Christmas is a day for family, for the counting of blessings. I resent the intrusion of anything more than that.
Well, since our family is back in Kansas, Doctor.
He's the black man that would have been there. This is the pyramid scheme, in which he plays Othello, and she plays Eve, and he is the sacrifice.
We'll now enjoy presents and gifts, and if we're lucky, a little ho-ho-ho. Excuse us, Hannah.
Boy, he sure knows.
He played the black man. A little ho ho ho. Oh shit, we're gonna have to go back and look at this again. Look at this motherfucker. Look at the black woman. And the black man, even though he's considered white, he was the black man in this role. He was the father. He played the father.
I resent the intrusion of anything more than that.
Well, since our family is back in Kansas, Doctor, we shall now enjoy presents and gifts, and if we're lucky, a little ho-ho-ho. Excuse us, Hannah.
Boy, he sure knows lots of words I never heard of.
What did you do that for?
Do what?
Lecture the child on the meaning of Christmas. Can anybody enjoy the holidays without your Scrooge philosophy?
Scrooge?
Yes, Scrooge. Here's a 6-year-old boy without a father, and 2,000 miles from his nearest kin. What's the matter with toys and turkey and a jingle bell or two?
Well, he bugged me about how the tree works.
Yeah, me too. I expected him to ask about the EKG machine or the sigmoidoscope.
What do you know about the family?
Uncle Lou and Aunt Emma, they live in Dorston, Kansas.
Scrooge, yeah?
Yes. And a very merry bah humbug to you, Ebenezer.
Well, man, how'd it go? Pretty good shindig? Plenty of presents?
You got to capitulate television programming at its best, at its foundation. It's easy now because they've indoctrinated so many people, but I'm Scrooge. I'm Ebenezer Scrooge.
Colored them wrong.
You did? Who?
Santa Claus. You've only got the pink and orange con.
The Santa who came to visit us in Kansas was a few shades darker.
Now listen, kid. Ours is just a pretend Santa Claus, a shill for company parties. The jury's still out on the real one.
You doctors sure talk funny.
Are these all you have?
What do you want from me, lady? If you don't like what I got left, see the boss. You know what I mean? He does all the heavy thinking. I just hustle the furnace.
Where's the boss?
Up near Bakersfield.
It's just that we're used to different trees back east. You know, ones with branches on each side and needles on them.
This is it. You know what I mean? I mean, who waits until now? Right?
Right.
I mean, this is Christmas Eve. How about this, kid? You like him voluptuous? Huh? Honey of girth, huh?
No.
No. This is a good tree, a May Wester. The boys overseas go fruit over this tree. I mean, it's got class. You know what I mean?
No, sir.
Kids nowadays. Oh, huh? You want taller? You got taller. Here's the official Wolf the Stoat model. I mean, this is a tall tree.
It's rather naked, too.
What do we got here? A fashion show? I mean, you want them taller or covered with ferns? I mean, what are you looking for in the waning hours? Out of my whole leftover stock.
Something traditional. Wide at the bottom, narrow at the top, preferably green.
Oh, lady, you've been reading too many Christmas cards. You know what I mean? I mean, nobody's got trees like that. Maybe Walt Disney and that bug-eyed mouse with the gang in the White House. But in real life, oh, come on, lady. I got it. See this, kid? A bargain. Sold this to a little old lady in sneakers about 3 days ago. Ain't come back. I'm gonna give it to you cheap, kid, because I like your looks. I mean, you and the tree, side by side, look like Norman Rockwell.
Something that has to be understood. It was not just the so-called Caucasian white mother. All these mothers convince you to go to war, convince you to go fight for your country instead of fighting for your family. It was your mothers who took you to buy Christmas trees and took you to Boy Scouts, signed you up for all kinds of shit that didn't have anything to do with what color you were or were not.
Beautiful person. That's who buys all his trees from my boss up in Bakersfield. Smokes a pipe. This is you, kid. It's got your name on it. What's your name?
Corey?
See? Didn't I tell you? Corey. All the ferns. Corey.
But the trunk is so crooked.
The whole world's crooked, lady. Corey. This is you, kid. It's crying out for you. Give me a break. Give me a home. It's Christmas Eve. Take me, says Corey. Look at me with lights and then tinsel and a star on top. Give me some water. I mean, give me a chance. Spray me with that snowflake stuff. Carrie!
Corey!
Yeah.
Take it, Mom. He's such a friendly tree.
But it's so crooked, Corey.
Corey, don't leave me behind.
Please, Mom, look. If we don't take him, he won't have any Christmases at all. We can fix him up. Please.
What's a home without a fern, lady? And vice versa.
I love this tree, Mama.
Are you sure this tree will stand up?
Lady, this is a tree you'll never forget. Would I lie to you?
Yes.
No one is more culpable in indoctrinating their children into a constructed society. Not racist, just constructed.
Lady, this is a tree you'll never forget. You know what I mean?
You're going to be disappointed by the rituals. Do not believe me. Do not believe anybody else. Do not believe Julia. Do not believe any constructed holiday. Good night.